Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's September 24th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And you can see we did get some follow-through selling today. We sold off a little bit. We did recover about not quite half of it. We recovered some of it. Um, so we'll see if we are going to pull back any further or if we'll go higher from here. So we have had a correction now. We've definitely relieved some of the overbought situation. It wouldn't. I mean, honestly, it probably wouldn't hurt if we trended back and bounced off the midline again and then went higher. Um, but we could go higher from here. We could kind of continue to work sideways. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But we have relieved some of the overbought. Still not. Prices are just not rocketing off and selling off. We're not getting a lot of rejection up here. Yeah, we found some resistance, but I wouldn't call this a lot of rejection. Not yet, anyway. Now, it could turn into a strong move down, but it hasn't yet. So my guess is we're not done to the upside, but we'll see what tomorrow brings and what the rest of the week brings. But uh, definitely another down day today, although we did close off the lows. So that's the way I would leave it. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and see what it looks like, and we'll go through the trades and we'll wrap the day up. Okay, here it is. We didn't have any real news to worry about today. We had some medium of home sales or whatever, but we don't really worry too much about that. It could affect the market, but it's usually not a high volatility type um, news item that really shakes the market too bad. But you can see how we sold off here, recovered some of it, and then just kind of chopped sideways into the close. So um, we have opened back up. It is just after 5 o'clock, maybe a few minutes, 7 minutes after it looks like. So not a lot of trades today, so this won't take too long. But early on, we were in this range up here, or it looked like we were going to have a range, but you can see the support just didn't hold. Really, what this amounts to in the end is we really don't have a range day. You just have strong resistance up here. So that's the way this turned out. Of course, you draw the range just in case, but you can see when we came down here, we didn't even, had no effect at all. Prices went right through it. We pulled back, and this line here, this red dash line, that's the close from yesterday. And you'll see over and over how the opens, notice how many times we tested that open. Here's the close. Notice how many times we tested that close from yesterday on both sides. And so those are important price levels. Always pay attention to them. When you open above or below the close at this 8:30 time, that generally means there's a gap right there. Even though we don't see it on this chart, on most charts you would only see the close here and then the open here. At least you would for the regular 8:30 session is what I should say, which is when the regular stock market opens in New York at 8:30. So it'd be 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central. I'm on Central time, so you'll hear me talk about Central. When I talk about times on my chart, I'm talking about Central time. So uh, just assume that's not in there. And we closed here yesterday, and we open up here. So that means there's a gap right there, and they'll generally try to fill that gap. And a lot of times they'll fill that gap and it'll reverse and go back in the other direction. Today it didn't do that. It pushed on through. It came back and tested it 1, 2, 3, 4 times before it really trapped some people to the long side. And once they trapped those people long, look how fast that fell off. And then next thing you know, we're in this super downfall. And that's what they do. They trap you on the wrong side. So that's why you never go long into this stuff, because this is what happens. It breaks out and it looks like it's going to, you're all excited. You're happy. You got a few ticks or maybe even a point or two in your favor, and then suddenly the next thing you know, it's all evaporated, and you're sitting here in awe watching it go down, thinking it's going to come back, it's going to come back, and the next thing you know, your broker throws you out and you're broke and you lost your whole account. That's what they do to you. That's what they do to inexperienced traders. Don't be that guy or that girl. Don't be that person. Be smarter than that. Don't go long into this stuff. Don't go short. And when it's like this, don't go short into this stuff. That's why there's no shorts marked here, because you have to go short up here and you have to go long down here. And so up here, you're looking to go short. If you got short right there, that's the trade of the day. I mean, it's an awesome setup there, a great trade. It's as good as it gets, really. So we'll talk about it when we get there. But let's zoom in here a little bit, go through these trades, and wrap this day up. But we were obviously in this really tight range. I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was like the sixth, maybe even call that the seventh test. I marked this green because it's not a perfect signal bar. It's got a 2-bar matching low. There's some reasons to be concerned about that trade, but I like it. I think that it's one you want to risk. I mean, when you've tested it that many times and can't get through, it's probably at least coming back to test the low, even if it doesn't go lower. So we want to try to ride that back down. I did mark it green because it looks a little congested. You got the 2-bar matching low. You got a kind of a neutral type. I mean, it's still a bearish bar. It probably closes in its lower 1/3 anyway, but there's no body there, and that just makes it suspect sometimes if everything else is not perfect. So, I mean, if it closes like that way down here near the low with no body, that's a little different than closing almost in the middle of the bar. So, but if you catch that, you're in great shape. If you don't, well, you miss out and you don't get another chance to enter. Um, Notice you're working down, you get a close outside and a couple of legs to a new low, and then it can't correct. It just works sideways. So that's not showing any strength. That's showing weakness because we can't get any rejection down here at these prices, and it actually breaks out. And what does it do? It traps everybody. But you can't go long short at this lows because you don't want to get trapped in there like you did up here because that could happen to you. And so you just sit tight and wait, and it ends up running all the way down, and you don't really get another chance to enter. But notice what happens. You got a little. I think you could treat this like a new high. So you're running down first entry, second entry. Either way, you got a close outside and a new low on this move down. So maybe you take that. I'm always going to mark that green. It's dangerous trying to pick bottoms. Even when you go to pick a bottom with a higher low, it still can be dangerous. But when you're that far away from the EMA and you get a good higher low, if it breaks above that, it's probably going to give you another leg back to the EMA. And we're just so far oversold here, and you can see how far we are away from that EMA. We're probably coming back to it. And we could reverse because now really you've got more than 2 measured legs down, as you can see there. So, um, but yeah, I like that entry. It takes it a minute, but it would have worked out. I don't think you can enter once you realize you're in this range. You just sit tight. There's no setups there of any kind. Then we break out the high side, and once again it fails. The problem here is you got to close outside, but you don't have a new high, and that's not a very convincing close outside. So I would wait because we may still try to go higher here. And sure enough, we pull back and we find some resistance. This has moved a little bit. You find some, you pull back, you find some support right there. First entry, there's actually a second entry, but it's not a very good setup. And then you got this higher low, but again, you could probably argue that this may even be up here like so. So it's kind of hard to go. You don't want to go long right there, basically. See what happens? It breaks out. It pulls back. It does push on up, but you don't know that it's going to do that. Comes back. It bounces here again. This is all too sideways and all. Even though by the counts that would be a first entry, second entry. Again, you got resistance up here. You don't have room anyway, and you got a possible trend line working down. So there's no entry right there. That's probably going to fool some people. I guarantee you, if I don't talk about it, somebody's going to post and say, "Why didn't you like this second entry?" Well, there's your reason. Uh, it's sideways. It's a lot of bars stacked sideways. You got all this resistance up here, and guess where that is? That's the close from yesterday, and it's acting as resistance, actually strong resistance at that. And because now we've tried to go higher once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So you don't want to risk that with that little bit of room there. I would just call that a first entry anyway. And it comes on down, and you get a second entry here, but no signal bar. And by that time, you can see you're working down. And then you get a little two-legged correction and a second entry short, which again, there's no setup there. You probably should draw. Well, actually, I thought this was part of the retest, but it's not. So we can just go ahead and draw the trend line. And there's a second entry with no close outside or anything. And it does run to a new low. And so that brings us to a new low on this down channel. So now we can go try to retest the highs. And guess what? You get a move up, close outside, 2 legs to a new high, and then it reverses again. I like this one because of the close outside and 2 legs up, and you're way away from the EMA. It's probably going to snap back at least to the EMA, but it could go further. Little we know, it's going to drop into this thing and just take off like crazy. So if you entered here, you might could have caught this whole thing, but at least you're going to get a little run here and probably catch a runner as well. Notice we're working down, then we start working sideways, but you get a couple of legs to a new low. I don't see, by the time you can enter long on a high or low, there's nothing going on right there, so you really can't enter there. You get a little failed breakout. I didn't mark this, but you could consider that. I really don't like it because you're in this up channel. There's no close outside. There's no new high. There's no nothing. But you could treat it as a failed break out of this range. So you might argue for that to be green, and you may want to take that trade. If you do, you catch this whole move down. Otherwise, there's no way to get in this trade. And at no time is there, until way down here, is there a chance to get in it. And it's almost over by that time. But again, you're just trading a failed breakout that looks similar to this, except it's in a downtrend and off a key entry point. Look, working sideways, you break out, it turns down right off that key entry point on a failed breakout. I like that trade. You might enter that as a lower high, but you got to go short right at the very low of the move and this very low of the day. And you see how it snaps back there. It's never a good idea. I'll mark it green, but I would not take that trade. I'll tell you right now. There's reasons to like it, but you're being very risky. So I would sit tight. Notice what happens. Now you got to close outside. You get 2 legs to a new low, and you make a new high. I like going long right there on that new high just to try to get a scalp out of it, but you may catch the low of the day. You may catch the bottom. And sure enough, this thing takes off. Pretty good move up. You probably would have had another runner there. Close outside, a move to a new high. Tried 2 legs to a new high, and actually you end up in this range, and you just can go short right there, just playing the range. And that is also a lower high. And then you get these 2 legs down, but there's no setup right there. You probably should draw your trend line. And of course you get another failed breakout here. And then you get a higher low off the back inside the range. If it breaks above that, it's probably going to take off. And notice it had a little, it looked like it was going to be a long drought for a minute, but it bounces right off that line and takes off again. So you couldn't enter here because now you don't have enough room to get out. You had to enter here. If you didn't enter here, there's no entry. And it breaks out the upper side, get a close outside, a new high all in one bar. And I like treating that as a failed breakout. I like taking that trade. It's close to being green. You probably should wait on a lower high, but you don't get one. But I still think you're safe playing that one. You have some evidence here that you got a close outside, a new high. Technically, I'd probably count that as really this is a double bottom. This is a higher low. So I think you could almost argue that that's a second entry short. By the counts, it's really going to be first, second, third. But this does not look like a leg up. Maybe it does. Maybe you still count that as a second entry even if you consider here and you just don't count this as much of anything here because it looks like a leg up, a correction, and another leg up, a much bigger leg up. So with another small leg at the top, a lot of times if you get a little short leg and then a big leg, you'll get your last leg that'll equal the smaller one. You'll see that sometimes. So I almost want to count this as a second entry. I'm getting ahead of myself though, but notice you got a trend working down, close outside, move to a new low, nice signal bar, second entry long. The problem is it closed below the EMA, and at this point it's hard to know, are we going higher or are we going to turn back down again? It's really hard to say. It's confusing here, and it's hard to know what prices are doing. So anytime you don't know for sure what prices are doing, you're probably better off to sit on the sideline. So I wasn't sure about this one. Everything's played out. It could go higher. So with it being a second entry and a good signal bar and a clear second entry, I think you have to at least give it a green. Again, if you skip that one, I don't blame you. I didn't like it either. It's too. I was just be honest. It didn't feel like a sure thing, so I didn't mark it as a sure thing. And then we run up, and if you're going to go short, or if you're going to enter, this is where I like entering because really you got a double top here. Even though this may leave some stem up here, it's still a double top. I think you could treat it like a lower high, and so I'm willing to give that a green too because I like this one better than this one because now you've probably got close to two measured legs, as you can see right there. And so we're real close to two measured legs up. So anyway, I like that one. And if you catch that, that's a great move down. You get a close outside, and then a couple of swings to a new low. Maybe you try to catch that low right there again. Again, that's you need to wait on the higher low, and you don't get one. You move too far now. There's actually a second entry short here. You do get a close outside the new high, and I think you can argue that there's resistance across there. So you might even take that trade because it is a second entry short, but you can see it doesn't go very far and it reverses. So it felt like we were, again, it's just hard to kind of know what's going on in here. There's a lot of mixed trading, and prices they're running up super strong, then running down super strong, running up super strong. So it's really hard to get a gauge of what prices are doing here. It's just a lot of mixed trading. And when you have that, you're better off to kind of sit tight sometimes and just kind of wait for some clarification. And what this turns out to be is a spike in channel. And you actually get a confirmation here, and that's why I like kind of get interested in it again to the upside. Because you make a new high, first entry, second entry, and on this one coming down, you do get a close outside and a new low. So strong signal bar. I like going long there. Runs up to the upside of the channel, comes back. There's actually a second entry long right there, but you're still in this channel. You don't have a close outside and a new low, in my opinion. I mean, you could argue there's a close outside, but when it's that close, it's hard to know if that's a convincing close outside yet. And that's what you need is a convincing close. So it may be like that. So you can't really count that. You need something more convincing than that. And it ends up as just a range. So if you'd have went long there, guess what? You probably get stopped out. I don't think there's enough room to that. I don't think that would have worked. No, see, there's just not enough room there. So yeah, and that takes us sideways into 5 o'clock, or I'm sorry, into the 2:30 hour. And we don't trade the 2:30 to 4. So, but anyway, there it is. That's how I saw it today. Again, we had a big sell-off and then just kind of found the bottom and worked sideways from there. And we did take some of it. We closed off the lows, took some of it back. So I'm not convinced the correction's over yet, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. But there it is. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.